Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Novel Network. Identify the hot night meme, Little Demon King Society dies on the spot. Travel to the world of tokusatsu, MO by awakens the popular night meme system. Identify popular nights and combine them with related memes to earn rewards. Numerous nights, full of confidence, thinking that their shining moments will be revealed. Who knows? Fei Dian or Ren, identification name memes. Swung Foot Knight Kick, you may Ren Zun Shi. Emperor Qimen Yanshi, identification of name memes. I hit myself, my account was stolen in person, countless dark histories have also been exposed. Little Demon King will die directly. It's over, how can I become the most benevolent and kind Demon King? Wang Xiaoming looked incredulous and said, what, I'm actually the leader of the card repair team. Isn't it? Many persecuted knights took out their drives and said, who the hell came up with this thing, come out and die. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 1. Identify popular knights. Ling and Big Brother. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a dimly lit rental house. Only the computer screen is shining brightly. A slightly disheveled but somewhat handsome face appeared. MO by, as AB. Station Special Camera Area Up host, is constantly importing materials. Then edit the music and hit the first shot for the new pit you just opened. After a long time, MO by stretched lazily. Ah, it's finally finished cutting. Subsequently, MO by opened the backend of Bilibili, uploaded the video, named and tagged it all in one go. But just as he eagerly pressed the release button, an unfamiliar prompt appeared on the screen. May I ask if you have published and identified the popular night meme, Lingi chapter? Yes/no, although MO by had some doubts, he only considered it as a website update and without hesitation chose yes. But what MO by never expected was. Just as he chose yes, a huge screen appeared in the sky of all the Kamen Rider worlds. Then start playing the carefully crafted opening credits by MO by. Numerous handsome scenes of knights flashed by one, combined with the super burning and stuttering BGM, it was simply so cool that it was no friend. Kamen Rider W World. Outside Minghai office, Qianqiao pressed his hat on his right hand and looked up slightly at the huge screen that appeared out of thin air. Hello, Philip, is that W? Did you see it? We're so handsome. Yes, I saw it. Philip felt a bit helpless, as Qianqiao, a half-hearted tough guy, always showed a childish side unintentionally. But the ultimate form of the wind ace that flashed by later plunged him into contemplation. There is a device on the belt that I haven't seen before, but I can be sure it's W. Shotaro, who also noticed this situation, immediately asked Philip, is there any form of W that I don't know about? In theory, it may be possible. Let me look it up. After speaking, he immediately opened the Earth Library and began searching for keywords. But Philip did not find any specific information about the ultimate form of the wind ace, only a vague description. He turned to search for information on the huge screen that appeared out of thin air, but could not find any information at all. Philip's expression, returning to reality, was somewhat solemn. Shotaro, this huge screen that appeared out of thin air should not be a product of this world. Kamen Rider King World, 2068. The whole world is desolate, with the wind sweeping the yellow sand and blowing the withered and yellow weeds everywhere. In this dilapidated world, there is a majestic figure wearing dark gold armor, towering above the throne. He weighed his chin with his left hand, his gaze completely drawn to the huge screen in the air. It's just that compared to the handsome scenes of those Kamen Riders, this screen that he couldn't even see through was more interesting to him. But in the next moment, the appearance of Shi Wang Feng Mo on the screen made the old Demon King's calm face show a hint of surprise. It's actually a form that I haven't even seen before, it's interesting. Jado King World. As the heavenly Tao had just eradicated a strange insect and was pointing towards the heavenly impetus, a huge screen instantly opened up in the sky. Not only did it create a slight flaw in the smooth appearance of the heavenly way, but it also attracted the attention of the nearby Gagami. Are these all Qimen riders? Tiandao, I saw Kabuto. This is too handsome, isn't it? Gagami's gaze couldn't help but shift from the screen in the air to the man who was begging for mercy, and for a moment, her heart was filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Faced with Kagami's praise, Tiandao slowly lowered his right hand and followed the previous forced rhythm. My grandmother once said, as long as I want, the world will focus on me. Qimen Rider 01 World. The little president stood by the huge window, pointing to the huge screen in the air, with a look of excitement discovering the new continent. Is this a high-tech company? This kind of promotion is too naughty. Izzy's eyes flashed with blue light and he began to analyze the screen. There is currently no analytical conclusion that the target does not possess energy and mass, but can be captured by the human retina and monitoring devices. And now, in the light curtain, countless moments of night highlights began to flash through. This made the young president exclaim in pleasure. And at this moment, is on the side also connected to the satellite Z. President, after analysis by Satellite Zaya believes that this screen may involve parallel worlds and timelines. This is because it not only displays numerous Qimen riders that are not in the database, but also reveals the 01 shining form that is still under study, as well as more possible 01 forms. Parallel world and timeline. The young president immediately contributed a wave of art. What does this mean? Simply put, the content displayed on the screen may reveal 01's future. The young president was instantly startled. However, if the future 01 is really so handsome, it would be really exciting. Spread your wings towards the future and fly high. Good, it must be me or someone. The president clenched his fist and passionately said. Is looked at the young president's nonsense and tilted his head in confusion for a moment, then began clapping. At the same time, among the many worlds of knights, whether it's a magician sitting on a streetlight eating donuts, a silly boy dressed in warring states armor planning to deliver takeout, a world destroyer taking photos of passers-by, or an unemployed young man who can live with peace of mind as long as he gets fat tomorrow, his gaze is drawn to the huge screen unfolding in the sky. Masked knights are companions of justice, heroes who fight to protect human freedom and peace. However, beneath their masks, they are not steel bodies unaware of blood and tears, but rather flesh and blood like ordinary people. In order to let more people understand the appearance behind the Qimen rider, special hot meme points for Qimen riders. Knight's popular meme. Ling chapter. In the world of 01. As a humorous artist, the young president has a strong interest in this kind of behind-the-scenes decryption like gossip. He propped his hands on the window frame, his face filled with an indelible excitement. Oh, Izzy. Who do you think will be counted? Fei Dian or humans are extremely excited. At present, at the speed of the satellite Zaya, it still cannot be counted. Is placed his hands on his lower abdomen and replied in a straight and orderly manner. The president wanted to say something more, but as he looked at the following information, he was immediately stunned. Identify popular knight memes. Ling chapter 01 World. First. Identifying knights. Flying electric or human. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 2 Uma people. Respected teacher. It must be me, Fei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. First place. Qimen Rider 01 World, President of Fei Dian Intelligence. Fei Dian or human. 01 World. In the Fei Dian Intelligent Office. The president looked at the content on the screen and instantly fell into ecstasy. He held his little hands in both hands and danced happily in the narrow office. Iz's cheeks bulged slightly, his eyes filled with confusion, but he couldn't help but cooperate with the disorganized dance steps of the young president. Iz, do you see that? I'm number one. Number one. President, it's too early to be happy now. Nicknames may not necessarily be positive reviews. I won't listen, anyway I'm number one. Unlike Iz, who couldn't help but laugh and cry, this opportunity to show his face in the heavens and all worlds simply made the young president ecstatic. Who really wants to be the president? I want to be a clown. He, a great star from all over the world. At this moment, in the ruins of Dawn Town, a red light flashed over Yake, who was buried deep in the water. Data began to wander and transmitted into the doomed Thunder Station. In this ruins with a large number of exposed wires and uneven ground. The news and destruction are passing through the screens inside the base, gazing at the screens appearing in the sky. Suddenly, Mia was taken aback and received a message from Yak. Unknowingly, a naive smile appeared on his face, as if a child had developed a great interest in the screen that appeared out of thin air. He leaned over to Mia and asked, Mia, this screen is really interesting. But the first place is either Fei Dian or Ren, won't it have any impact on our plan, will it? The aura of destruction remains unchanged, but the gaze is firmly locked on the screen. Impact. It's more like a divine revelation. Divine enlightenment. The message clearly cannot understand the riddle of extinction. This screen is indeed a bit mysterious, but everyone is a robot. If you believe in God, is it cyberpunk? Everything is Yak's instruction. Upon hearing these words, the news no longer cared about them. He pounced on Mia with joy and made a voice that sounded like coquettishness. Extinguish, Sun, you should call me Father. Exade World. Within the Dream Company. Tan Lidou quickly typed the keyboard, and the numerous highlights of the nights just now showed him many different nightly systems. This kind of analogy gave him a lot of inspiration. Nowadays, simple game cartridges can no longer meet the needs of Tan Lidou. He wants to create a brand new game, a game that transcends dimensions. A great genius will create a cassette that can be called a god. On the computer screen, a zoomed-out window is broadcasting the content displayed in the air. When Tan Lidou saw the words, President of Fei Dian Intelligent, a contemptuous smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The greatest president can only be me, Tan Lidou, who governs Dream Company. The next moment, he saw his progress continuously increasing on the divine card. The smile on Xiaojiao's face instantly shattered. He stood up suddenly, with a smile on his face that could be considered a beauty, and growled wildly, once this great divine card is born, I, who is just a genius, will evolve into Tan Lidou Shen. Ha ha ha. On the screen, a scroll unfolds, and several large characters that seem to sparkle with special effects appear. Identification nickname. Uma person. Great respect teacher. For a moment, everyone was amazed. Suddenly realizing that the identification of this nickname seemed somewhat different from what I had imagined. World 1. My hometown, who has already retired and gained weight, vigorously supports my beloved car and stands on a high mountain. He couldn't understand the abstract term Yu Mei Ren, but the title, De Zun Shi, touched his nerves. Respected Master. It seems like the leader of a cult. Does this Lingi Knight also join the card repair organization like a decade? For a moment, our hometown became hard, and his fists became hard. Although he has retired, he will still fight on the front line when card repairs appear. However, the local fierce finally slowly loosened his fist. I decided to keep watching. Decade can break away from the repair organization, even give up his position as the leader, and become a righteous Kamen Rider. This Kamen Rider 01 should also be given a chance to reform himself. Don't disappoint me, young knight. Kamen Rider 555 World. Xiao Yi is driving a motorcycle on the road, with numerous vehicles that make him hesitant to pay too much attention to the screens in the air. But for the word dream, he has his own ideas and goals. I have no dreams, but I can protect others' dreams. Afterwards, Xiao Yi became more and more concerned, so he decided to park the motorcycle in a safe position on the roadside and firmly locked his gaze on the screen in the air. He really wants to know what kind of label you may people are. How will you interpret your dreams, whether it's Fei Dian or human? Simple keywords completely arouse the audience's expectations. As 01's unique Europa style slowly resounds, the video content is just the beginning. Combining narration with visuals, start digging into the secrets of flying electricity or people. Fei Dian or human, the grandson of former president of Fei Dian Intelligence, Fei Dian Zhizhu. Originally just a mediocre and humorous artist, but one day, due to Sima Jia's outstanding performance, like many people, he lost his job. But this is also a turning point in his fate. A high-end smart car brought him the news of his grandfather's passing and the will to become the new president of Fei Dian Intelligence. As a large enterprise, Fei Dian Intelligence started by developing and selling repair codes to Qianqiao. This type of AI intelligent robot has entered every corner of society. It has become an inseparable and important part of society. The video deliberately separated a part of the content to popularize the basic worldview of the 01 world to the audience, showcasing a world with advanced technology and particularly advanced artificial intelligence industry. And focus on introducing Sima Jia, a product that has always worn storylines. The Dawn accident, which caused numerous casualties, completely abandoned a small town, and still requires isolation today. Fei Dian Intelligence has developed a new generation of code repair technology, which has quickly entered various industries after its launch and after sales service. While receiving widespread praise, it has seized a considerable number of job opportunities. Society is surging with an undercurrent, and the conflict between humans and code repair technology is beginning to ferment. And now, with the appearance of the Doom Thunder, they constantly invade Sima Jia, turning it into a terrifying magic puppet and attacking humans recklessly. At the same time, no one knows the true purpose of Doom Thunder and what kind of terrifying conspiracy is brewing. Despite the risk of a rampage and even the possibility of a terrifying intellectual crisis, there are still quite a few people from around the world who have developed a strong interest in this type of AI robot. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 3. I jump up, it's just a kick. Fix the code. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kamen Rider Armor World. As the highest leader of the research department of the World Tree Foundation, Zhang Jilingma immediately showed an interested expression when he appeared on the screen. This type of screen is impossible to achieve with any technology known to Zhang Jilingma. The highlight scene of the Kamen Rider also showcases numerous different Kamen Rider systems for him. Whether it is the Warpole drive that appears within it, or the Genesis drive that is still being planned. All of these have brought Zhang Jiling's curiosity to its peak. Genesis drive. Is this screen showcasing the future? Before he could finish digesting it, the appearance of Xiao Ma Jia now opened a brand new door for him. After the nerves were tense to the extreme, they needed to relax. Zhang Jilingma pulled over the chair on the balcony and sat down as if feeling empty, temporarily giving up thinking about the connection between the screen and the future. Starting to consider the application of code editing technology. By utilizing this AI robot, one should be able to better explore the Heim Underworld. Not only will the cost be much lower than that of the Warpole driver, but there is also no need for personnel and locks. In addition, it is also a good choice for security and war weapons. It's just a bit troublesome in terms of AI. Suddenly, his expression moved and a terrifying smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Perhaps uploading human consciousness to AI is also a way to combat the Heim Underworld. There is far more than one road leading to the other shore. Kamen Rider Build World. Zhang Tu watched the huge screen broadcasted on TV, spinning wildly inside the store while constantly scratching his head. I always want to rush out of the coffee shop and see it with my own eyes, even fly into the air and touch it with my own hands. I sat on the side with great interest watching the war rabbit spinning. For him, watching the usually calm war rabbit dart around like a hot monkey is far more interesting than those unfamiliar Qimen riders. In the end, the store manager couldn't bear to watch anymore. He pushed the small sunglasses on the bridge of his nose and spoke. "All right, Jean 2, hurry up and calm down. Let's go outside to see, but if we fly into the sky, it's absolutely not allowed." The store manager spoke up, and Jean 2 took the lead. A group of 4 people quickly moved to outdoor seating, carrying coffee and snacks in a row. At this moment, the introduction of Shuma Jia happened to be broadcasted on the screen in the air. I immediately expressed my opinion on the Zongming Long. This kind of code-fixing Jia feels similar to the robot warriors in Dongdu. Jean 2 glanced at the muscular fool and said, "The only similarity between robot warrior and Shuma Jia is that they are both robots. The difference in intelligence between the two is at least 10 of you. If I'm not mistaken, it's highly likely that the code repair kit is a strong artificial intelligence. This level of AI is too wasteful for combat. What is strong artificial intelligence?" Long, I was confused and then realized later, "You guy, you're actually cursing me in a roundabout way. Wow. Damn war rabbit." Watching the two of them start chasing me, Mekong on the side took a bite of a donut and immediately smiled. The store manager was drinking Mars-flavored coffee in a secluded manner, staring closely at the screen in the air. He doesn't care about strong artificial intelligence or extreme warriors. What he cares more about is the future that the screen may present after the introduction of Shuma Jia was completed. The Doom Thunder, as the mastermind behind the scenes, also surfaced. The scene finally arrived at the first transformation of the young president. The young president was covered in dust, with bruises all over his face, but his eyes were incredibly firm. He took the drive and key handed over by the secretary and decisively fastened them to his waist. Zerun driver after completing the belt dressing and undergoing unprecedented beginner training. The young president looked fearlessly at the magic puppet in front of him, his firm gaze full of war intent, and he forcefully pressed the locust key in his hand. Jump as the sound effect sounded, he quickly placed the key on the drive at his waist. Authorized successfully as the sound effect sounded, the satellite Z in the universe immediately emitted a thick green laser towards the Earth. And the magic machine puppet was also unwilling to sit and wait for death. He immediately swung the sickle on his arms and threw 2 huge wind blades at the transforming young president. Seeing the wind blade about to hit. But the young president and his were not at all panicked because the foolish magic machine doesn't know that transformation is invincible. A huge mechanical locust descended from the sky, blocking the wind blade while howling up to the sky, emitting a metallic hiss. The young president calmly completed a handsome posture, allowing the locusts to destroy the ground completely. With his command, Henshin. The president opened the locust key and quickly inserted it into his belt. Program upgrade jump. Fly into the sky as the sound effect sounded, the pitch-black basic armor immediately appeared on the little president, and then a huge locust leaped into the air, transforming into a massive data stream, attached to the elemental armor. A jump to the sky to a rider kick. Qimen Rider 01, born here. Armor Warrior World. Within the ERP base. Meijin and several armor summoners gave up their jobs and crowded around the screen of the base, watching the broadcast of Qimen Rider 01. Dongshan touched Meijin's shoulder and whispered. "It seems that there is no difference between the masked cavalry and our armored warriors. You see, 01's transformation is the same as ours, which is launched by satellite. Except for the difference in laser color, it is exactly the same. It seems that others' transformation effects are better." Meijin nodded, cleverly avoiding the problem of special effects. "Using satellite deployment is the most convenient way for me to transform with current technology. However, I have also considered using a belt-shaped shapeshifter, but the belt is too large to carry, so I ultimately chose a wristwatch-shaped summoner. Qimen interjected with a smile, after all, we don't have the kind of intimate little secretary like the president. Qimen, aren't you jealous? His words made everyone laugh out loud, but Beimiao, who was an expert in the civil war in Beimiao, immediately ran out to protest, the belt is portable, not portable. Besides, their transformation sound effects are really cool. It's pure English, it sounds very high-end. I also want this kind of transformation sound effect. It was paid for as a gift, and the English thief, the Land Rover hero, obviously doesn't think so. What's good about English? Jump to the sky, turn to air, kick. He stuttered in English, but the translation was extremely fluent. Doesn't that mean? I'll jump up and give you a kick. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 4 Underworld scene. Night kick with twisted feet. My hometown is fierce. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Holy Blade World. Teacher Thomas stood at his doorstep, pressing his hat and looking up at the screen in the air. The highlights of the Kamen Rider inspired him to write, and he wished he could immediately shut down and start writing crazily. But about the story of 01, he didn't want to miss it at all. Leap into the air, night kicks. Teacher Toma confidently translated the correct meaning of 01's transformation into sound effects, and the difference between the Wenhao and Xiao Zhangyu was clear at a glance. The transformation sound and special effects of 01 are really amazing, much better than the Holy Blades. As a great writer with a normal aesthetic, Teacher Thomas also has some criticisms about the transformation of his own small black house. However, this senior doesn't seem to have much impression. By the way, is he a senior? 01 and Holy Blade don't have any linked theatrical versions, ah. My neck hurts so much. Kabuto World. Inside the ZECT base, Hideyoshi Taso and Yuki Kazuki are closely watching the footage broadcasted from a huge screen, which appears out of thin air. All members of ZECT were reminded of exotic insects, something that science cannot explain. It seems that only exotic insects can do it. But as the videos continued to play, they dispelled this idea. Just relying on the alien insect, I don't even deserve to touch the porcelain screen. After carefully watching the battle footage of 01, Kazuo Yuyue asked her own captain, who is stronger and weaker in the night system developed by ZCT for this 01 system. Tian Suo glanced at his capable general and was somewhat puzzled. Does this cross-world comparison of combat power make sense? But he still provided his own analysis. The 01 system uses satellite delivery, which is a relatively convenient way, but with a slightly more complicated process, the transformation person has more unnecessary actions. Zek's insect detector can immediately reach the holder's side from any location, with speed comparable to satellite delivery, and our transformation is faster. From the night data, it can be seen that the 01 system has stronger punching and jumping abilities, but without the clock-up system, it is impossible to defeat monsters. Besides, we also have the strongest insect detector. Just deep inside the ZECT base, in a fully enclosed square cage, a blue catalpa-shaped insect is constantly colliding with the wall. The extremely tough and resilient special metal, in the continuous impact, has appeared one depression after another. The clattering sound echoed deep in the base, as if a demon was struggling in a cage. The screen is still continuing. After a series of highlights and fights, especially the slow shots inside the bus, the young president announced victory. There is only one person who can stop you. That's me. As soon as the words fell, the young president immediately tapped the drive on his waist and used his ultimate skill. Rising impact in an instant. A green electronic data stream swirled around 01, and with lightning speed, it instantly approached the praying mantis magic machine puppet. The right foot erupted suddenly. Immediately force it to fly. Then 01 jumped up high, like a real locust, and then accelerated again in the air. The energy of the whole body converges on the right foot, condensing into a huge, locust-like mechanical claw. In the high BGM sound instantly penetrate the magic machine doll. The scattered parts of the magic puppet are the fireworks celebrating the birth of 01. Rising impact. Such a handsome ultimate skill, combined with cool special effects fonts and even more stunning close-up shots, instantly made the audience exclaim in amazement. Only the little president in the Fei Dian intelligent office turned pale in an instant. He suddenly sat up from his seat. Instantly ran to the window, his expression was extremely ferocious, and he reached out to the screen in the air with his teeth and claws wide open. Make every effort to prevent the video from continuing to play. Because below is his dark history. Is tilted his head, his big eyes flickering, and was somewhat confused by the reaction of his own president. President, what's wrong? Nothing. Nothing. The young president, unable to stop him, suddenly lost his strength and huddled against the wall, his expression also blurred. He could only tremble and extend his right hand, murmuring to himself, "Don't let it go anymore." The video is still ongoing. After 01 penetrates the magic puppet, he maintains a handsome posture and lands with a sliding shovel. Under strong inertia, 01 made a rumbling sound as it rubbed against the ground, dragging out a long trail. And then suddenly sprained my foot. Hey, ah. It hurts. Amidst the screams of the young president, 01 rolled into a ball and crashed into a nearby building, causing it to collapse instantly. By the way, I also buried myself below. Kamen Rider Build World. The twisted night kick that made people laugh out loud stunned me, and then I started laughing wildly. Ha ha ha. This guy. He's truly a funny artist, isn't that too funny? The war rabbit on the side was twitching wildly at the corners of its mouth. I am grateful that my first cavalier kick did not involve a sprain in my heart, and no time the knight kicked, he never twisted his foot. Dragon, I laughed like a fool and stopped laughing. Both Mekong and the store manager stopped laughing. However, Mekong raised a fatal question to Jeantu. Jeantu, why does your knight kick have a parabola? I see other Kamen riders have diagonal or straight lines. Of course, it is because parabolas can generate faster speed at the same lateral distance, and the power of knight kicks will also be greater. I am a genius physicist, a genius. If Jeantu were Pinocchio, his nose would have been 2 meters long by now. But if you're faster, isn't it easier to twist your foot? Originally, I had already laughed so much, but when I heard Mekong's double question, I burst out laughing wildly again. Ha ha ha. Kamen Rider World 1. The fierce old man from our hometown originally thought that 01 was a knight trader related to the major repair card based on the keywords of the great respected master. But the introduction of 01's worldview easily dispelled his doubts, but the final twisted knight kick shook his strong warrior heart. Have knights become like this now? Can world peace and human freedom really be entrusted to such characters? The old man became increasingly angry and his fists became harder as he thought about it. Even the most basic knight kicks can twist their feet, what a waste. The mood of the fierce old man in our hometown swayed wildly as the video was played, and after the appearance of the twisted-footed knight kick, it all turned into an uncontrollable anger. He shook his head fiercely and sighed, have knights become like this now? They can even twist their feet with basic knight kicks. The old man has made up his mind that if he meets the younger generation 01 in the future, he must use love to educate them and make them understand what the show a brave man is. He turned around and rode his motorcycle, galloping away. Kamen Rider 01, don't look at it. Next, there will be various nightly underworld scenes. Please have more support. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 5 Lonely Old Ren. Qianqiao. Dreams are not just. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Kamen Rider King World 2068. The position of the old demon king on the throne remained unchanged, but the wind on the barren land grew stronger and stronger because the old demon king was angry. Kamen Rider 01, Lingi Big Brother. This is far from enough. As a demon king with full night power, the old demon king can clearly feel that the night power of the Reiwa era is far inferior to that of the Heisei era. But when I think about it, there is such a bad leader and big brother. The knights of Lingi era seem to have a hard time too. The old demon king let out a long sigh, and the raging wind suddenly subsided. The scene of the twisted foot knight kicking in the underworld has made everyone laugh and even made many people forget the true title of the video. The punishment of Fei Dian or people is only about to begin now. The video is still playing. By combining fragments and voiceovers, the true face of Fei Dian or humans is slowly presented to the audience. Fei Dian or Ren, as a child raised by Xiu Ma Jia, was born with an extraordinary affection for Xiu Ma Jia, and his only relative, grandfather, also had a great influence on him. After being forced to become the president and defeat the magic puppet, Fei Dian or Ren sprouted the idea of creating a world where humans can coexist harmoniously with Xiu Ma Jia, and each Xiu Ma Jia can achieve their dreams. Great idea, it's a pile of shit to do. Not even shit. Because our protagonist is shouting slogans like a repeater, without any plans or actions. While shouting to protect Xiu Ma Jiya's dream, he immediately rushed to the scene after Xiu Ma Jiya was destroyed and invaded by thunder. The next day, he used backup data to create a new one. The most crucial thing is that he doesn't think about upgrading his firewall to his own repair code and trying to improve security all day long. But when repair code and Jiya are destroyed and Thunderbolt invades, he will still hesitate to fight the rampaging magic machine. It's just such a naive and immature person, after the sudden death of his little secretary is directly blackening, what harmonious coexistence, what his meowing dream of repairing code, dare to touch my wife, they will all die. Directly incarnate as Yake 01, chasing after Mia Dad like a mad dog. Even the final realization of Locusts appears very ridiculous. What did Fei Dian or Ren realize? Is it that from a mentally disabled type of machine repair code reader, Kia has finally evolved into a mentally sound ordinary person? Amazon's world. In the dimly lit street, the sky was drizzling with a drizzle. Ing Shanren had just laid 2 eggs, put on his belt, and slowly twisted his handle. Amazon. The powerful waves instantly dispersed the raindrops around them. Then he followed the BGM coming from the air and slowly walked towards several Amazon that he had startled. As soon as a few Amazon took action, the bright red Piranha Knight accelerated rapidly. In the moment when the other party couldn't react at all, the wrist blade and claws were used together to solve the 3 Amazon in a flowing stream. Amazon's pitch black blood poured on the bright red biological armor, slowly fading away with the hazy raindrops. Ying Shanren slowly lifted his head, and the aerial video happened to coincide with the appearance of the awakened locust. This humble consciousness is of no use. The guy who talks about his dreams but doesn't take any action is just useless waste. If you want to change the world, you have to put aside pity and embrace the realization that even you have to be shattered, so that there is even a glimmer of possibility. Ying Shanren seemed to sigh and slowly took off his belt. Turn your back to Amazon's severed limb and slowly leave. I will kill all Amazon, including myself. Kamen Rider Black Sun World. Nanguang Taro, who had already aged, sat in his dilapidated bus, his gaze shifting from the air to his own hands. He could no longer experience this childish experience himself. On the contrary, Xiu Majia's experience bears some resemblance to that of a strange person. But the lives of the strange people were even more difficult, because Xiu Majia had at least one Fei Dian or person willing to shout slogans for them, as well as the Dune Thunder who planned to liberate them. But what about the weirdos? No one will speak for them, and the former Gorgon party no longer exists. Nanguang Taro does not want to criticize the immaturity of Fei Dian or others, because he himself is just a deserter. At the same time, Okamoto Nobuhiko, who was inside the underground prison of the Gorgon party, shook the chain that trapped him after watching the video and felt an unprecedented desire to escape from here. You're so childish like Kotaro. Kabuto World. Gagami, who had already been transformed into a fan by 01's handsome demeanor, was speechless for a moment and could only look at Tiandao on the side. Tiandao. Grandma once said, you can't succeed without saying or doing, and neither can you do without thinking. Tiandao stood up and patted Gagami's shoulder. Jayahimai, do you have any dreams? If you do, then try your best to achieve them. Anyway, what he wants will definitely be firmly grasped in his hand, even in the future. Heavenly Way. Gagami reached out his hand and wanted to say something more. Tiandao waved his hand with his back to him, without stopping. Empty my world. Wu Dai Xiongjie was gnawing on steamed buns while watching videos in the sky. He won't judge Fei Dian or people recklessly, whether they are childish or not, he can only shout slogans. What he needs to do is to be down to earth and do his job well. I don't have such great ideas about changing the world. The world is already very good now, and as long as I can protect people's smiles, I am already satisfied. Suddenly, he thought of those reckless killings of Qianqi, and his heart sank instantly. These guys, we can't let them go. 01 World. As the entire video is played. The young president has successfully passed away, diving directly into the late stage of Jade syndrome, presenting a grayish-white color tone and no longer responding to any stimulation. Just murmuring softly, I should have known earlier. If I had known earlier. Is wanted to comfort, but didn't know what to say. As for the death mentioned in the video, she is not afraid. If her own death can make the president grow, it is the best destination for the secretary. They just have a big problem. The vice president, who had long been dissatisfied with Fei Dian or his successor as president, finally seized the opportunity after watching the video and summoned a large number of shareholders who had watched the video to prepare for a palace arrest. Tianjin Hai, who had already installed spies in Fei Dian intelligence, sneered at the corners of his mouth. He rested his hands on the windowsill of the office and looked at the huge screen in the air. Then he took out his phone and called the deceased. The plan can start now. Yes. The cold and eerie response from across the street instantly made Tianjin feel extremely high. It's really heaven's help, Fei Dian intelligence. Will eventually be in my bag. But what he never expected was that the second appraisal began so quickly and the target is still him. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 6,000 Golden Riders. Sampasento. Tianjin High. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Second place. Kamen Rider 01 World, Kamen Rider 1000 Cavalry. Tianjin High. Identification of Internet hot memes Sampasento, Mad Father Demon. As the party involved, Lao Qian sat in the office of the president of ZAIA Japan, with his hands propped up on his chin, his face gloomy like water, and his gaze fixed on the broadcast footage in his notebook. The keywords Sampasento and madness of fate made him instinctively feel uneasy. The inventory of Fei Dian or human beings not only enabled him to successfully die in society, but also provided the opportunity for Lao Qian to launch the 1000 Cavalry plan in advance and seize the opportunity of Fei Dian intelligence. Will this inventory of him put him in the same predicament as Fei Dian or others? The more he thought about it, the more his face turned black, and he couldn't help but clench his hands tightly into fists. He suddenly stood up and let out a low roar like a beast. Impossible. Sampasento impossible. Fei Dian intelligence can only go further in my hands. But what the old man never expected was The video actually shows his positive image. In the spacious office, the curtains were drawn to make the light appear dim and unclear. A neatly lined chess game was placed alone on the table, and the old man sat alone, but no one was qualified to play with him. He reached out and grabbed a chess piece, like a towering controller. Death, my best tool. In. The old man slightly turned the boss's chair, revealing the dead standing quietly behind him. The 1,000 cavalry plan has been completed, it's time to start the next step. Only in my hands can Fei Dian intelligence annex Zaia and sweep the world. He casually dropped the chess pieces and stood up, his arms involuntarily waving, as if depicting a blueprint for the future. Fei Dian or others attach too much importance to the repair code of Jia. Artificial intelligence is just a tool to further the company. Once the tool loses its function, it must be destroyed. Lao Qian turned around and his gaze fell on the expressionless deceased, with a smile outlined at the corner of his mouth. Even you are the same, my best tool. Even in the face of such capitalist comments, Dai remained expressionless and only nodded slightly, yes, President of Tianjin. Very good. The figure of Lao Qian gradually disappeared into the darkness, and the temperament of the mastermind behind the scenes was vividly portrayed in the video. Actually, that's exactly how it is. Then the video began to educate the audience about the Qianqi plan of the cheat. The goal of this plan is to manufacture the strongest 1000-bit drive. For this, the old cheat needs to collect battle data for 8 upgrade keys and 8 extinction keys. The core of the 1000 cavalry plan is to play with the 3 parties of Doom Thunder, MS, and Fei Dian intelligence among the shareholders, allowing them to compete with each other and generate the data needed for the plan. Lao Qian passed on the extinction key to Mi Sun of Mi Thunder through his demise. Of course, they will not waste the key and will definitely find an opportunity to invade Xiu Ma Jia and let him go berserk. Fei Dian intelligence and AIMS can only transform into Kamen Riders to eliminate the rampaging Pokemon. Lao Qian constantly provides extinction keys, while Fei Dian intelligence and AIMS face different characteristics and even stronger magic machine dolls, so they can only continuously use new upgrade keys and use new forms to eliminate magic machine dolls. It is only a matter of time before a total of 16 combat data can be collected through continuous arms races. As for how to collect and transmit data, of course, we need to rely on the dark side of AMS. Blade Wei who was ambushed by the expert at an early stage. In the entire 1000 cavalry plan, the 3 parties of Sui Lei, AMS, and Fei Dian intelligence are like thoughtless chess pieces firmly controlled by Lao Qian. Now, 1000-bit drives have been born. Lao Qian, the hidden mastermind behind the scenes, finally plans to step onto the stage and take control of Fei Dian intelligence with his own hands. The first step is to use the power of a 1000-bit drive to crush Kamen Rider 01. Lao Qian, dressed in a white suit and with hair combed into a 24-year-old look, issued a victory declaration to 01 who was fighting against the magic machine doll. Now I can finally prove that I am right. He took out a 1000-bit drive with his left hand and calmly clasped it around his waist. 1000 driver. As the sound effects sound, the silver gray belt protrudes from both sides of the driver and is fixed at the waist of the old lady. When 01 was intimidated by the pressure of the cheat and looked over in shock, Lao Qian opened his hands and began the villain's routine forced behavior. I saw him full of reserve and pride, slowly speaking, the 1000-bit drive is ZAIA's highest masterpiece. Whether it's the extinction key. While speaking, the old man pulled out a black and gold key. Gently shake it and insert it into the right side of the 1000-bit drive. Zetsumetsu evolution. With the other hand, he took out another golden upgrade key. It's still the upgrade key, both can be used. As soon as he finished speaking, Lao Qian lifted the lift key in front of him and gently pressed the button. Break horn. It's 1000% stronger than the 01 drive. Henshin. At the next moment, Lao Qian will insert the lift key into the left side of the 1000-bit drive. As the lift key was inserted, the pitch-black shield in the center of the 1000-bit drive immediately opened to both sides, revealing the emblem representing the 1000 riders. On top of that coat of arms, the double horns of the heavy-footed beast and the triangle of the Nanyang Great Bug intersect, forming a crown. The power combination of the extinction key and the promotion key is the authority. It seems to symbolize the power of 1000 riders like King's PRFECTRSE, perfect upgrade. At the same time as the sound effect rings, two golden lights rush out of the driver, transformed into two massive mechanical beasts. The extinct heavy-footed beast ran wildly on the ground, its heavy footsteps trampling the earth with a roar. This ancient giant beast seems to have crossed time and space, bringing the spirit of the barbaric era to modern times. The giant among insects, the Nanyang giant beetle gallops in the sky, and the roar of flapping its wings only pricks the eardrums. Like an incredibly powerful aerial hegemon. Two giant beasts occupy the world. Although they are mechanical bodies, they are even more vivid than flesh and blood bodies. The bat puppet that made 01 fight hard only blocked the footsteps of the heavy-footed beast. Just in the midst of a loud roar, I was knocked off with one head. Went the five-horn scross. The GOLDNSOLDRSBRN, Birth of Golden Warrior 1000 Cavalry. As the belt called out, the heavy-footed beast and the Nanyang big pocket bug returned to their nest like a swallow, and immediately turned around to throw themselves at the old scammer. Two blue halos lit up on him, and at this moment, the heavy-footed beast collided with the Nanyang giant beetle, intersecting its five horns. Lao Qian's body was adorned with cash and black elemental armor, and two metal beasts were also transformed into silver armor in the data, attached to the elemental armor. Presented Bizea. Lao Qian opened his arms as if embracing victory. 1000 riders with towering heads and sharp horns resembling a crown, wearing golden battle clothes paired with silver armor, the Golden Warrior is not just a sound effect. Surprisingly transformed. The little shrimp dumplings who witnessed all of this were shocked. But there are still people more surprised than him. Brothers, please collect. The data is really a bit overwhelming. As we all know, if the first day doesn't work, this book will be useless. Please collect, please flowers. As long as the review votes exceed 200. Today is a crazy day. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 7 Yatares. Qianqi, you look a bit familiar. Create. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Armored Warrior Novel World. Having successfully retired, Duanmu Yan has already returned to normal life and even become a somewhat famous detective, having eliminated all of Orkner. At this moment, he looked at the appearance of Qianqi and was filled with surprise in his heart. How come this Kamen Rider is so similar to Yatares? Not only is the color matching not much different, but the head shape is almost the same except that the Qianqi is more angular. Even the transformation method is too similar. Duanmu Yan's intelligent brain was a bit confused for a moment. Chasing him in 1 second to complete the 01 appraisal, of course, knowing that other Kamen Riders in the 01 world only need one key to transform. The same goes for the armored warriors in their world. You only need a key containing 4 elements to transform. But Qianqi, like Yatares, not only requires complex keys to transform, but also stronger than other knights. However, Duanmu Yan still has one question. Is Qianqi really 10 times stronger than 01 Johnson? Soon, the video will tell all the viewers. How much better is Qianqi than 01? After Qianqi appeared, he walked slowly towards 01 with freehand steps. Then accelerate instantly. As soon as you get closer, you'll be punched. The terrifying punch power combined with the purple and gold special effects made 01 even barely block this punch, still being hit back and forth in a row. Qianqi is not willing to let go. He took advantage of 01's retreat and kept throwing out his fists one after another. Let 01 constantly parry and dodge. Wait. Fei Dian or Ren didn't want to fight against Lao Qian and planned to use a mouthpiece to attack, but Lao Qian ignored them at all. 01 took a hard punch and seized the opportunity to grab Qianqi's arm, pulling closer while also wanting to speak more. The neglected bat magic machine even took the opportunity to join the battle, using weak and powerless attacks to separate the two people who had fought together. After the rampaging magic puppet joined the battle, he immediately aimed his spear at his former owner. I got into a fight with 01, who is afraid of hands and feet. Qianqi was a bit angry when he was interrupted by a magic puppet in the battle with 01. So he pulled out his weapon. Thousandjacker Qianqi took a brisk step into the battlefield, and with a sword, he repelled the bat magic machine. At the same time, he immediately turned around and used his sword to block 01 who was approaching. Then, taking advantage of 01's fear of being used as a weapon by his sword, he used the sword tips of thousands of hijackers to press against his belt, pull the lever of the sword handle with the other hand. The lift key data used by 01 was sucked out like a needle pumping water. Jackrise, robbery upgrade. The magic machine sensed something was amiss and immediately began charging, knocking down 01 while preparing to fly away. Qianqi glanced faintly at the escaping magic puppet and pressed the button on the hilt, causing the lever to automatically retract. JACKNGBREAK as the sound effect rings, the ultimate move is ready. Qianqi gently waved his weapon, and a huge mechanical bird flew out of nowhere, instantly colliding with the escaping magic puppet. This monster, which made 01 fight hard, exploded instantly in the attack of Qianqi. The Enterprise. Just as 01 was still regretting the time for the exploding magic machine, Qianqi lightly grasps the sword and attacks towards 01 again. A sword struck the red breastplate of 01, followed by a kick and kicked it away. Then came a series of fierce attacks. When Qianqi was barehanded, 01 was not yet an opponent, and now his weapon is in his hand and he is completely powerless to fight back. Rolling like a rolling grass on the grass. Qianqi's ruthless attack style and constant damage. The young president was furious and let out a roar, wanting the scion to explode. As he stood up, he switched to his current strongest shining form. For Qianqi, any form of struggle is meaningless. 01 in shining form is still not a match for Qianqi. 01 can only use skills unique to the shining form, transform into a green data stream, and instantly disappear from the view of Qianqi. Once he relied on this move to easily defeat the powerful Dodo magic doll. Because the next attack from 01 will come from an unpredictable direction. But Qianqi had no intention of predicting. He forcefully took a kick from behind and punched back with his hand. Immediately turn around and use the power of waist and horse to knock it down with a punch. 01 used the sweeping leg as the trend went, but Lao Qian had already anticipated it. Jump back and dodge the attack, then lightly tap the lift key on the left side of the belt, ready to give 01 the final blow. Thousand distraction. At the same time as landing, Lao Qian jumped up again, and the dazzling purple and gold energy condensed on his right foot, instantly reaching 01. Kick 01 hard with a flying kick. But the thousands of devastating attacks go far beyond just one kick, but a series of consecutive kicks. The deafening roar, accompanied by the purple and gold special effects, 01 was defeated by the Battle of the Thousand Riders and retreated step by step. With the last kick, Qianqi leaped up with strength and calmly landed behind 01. Eating a full 01, a lot of sparks burst out from all over, and exploded in the next moment. The soaring flames and waves of air became the background for the victory of the cheat. A real man never looks back at the explosion, and the forced effect is directly filled. 01 World. When the video reached this point, Lao Qian couldn't believe it for a moment. He propped his chin with both hands, his eyes staring at the screen somewhat lifeless. Although I am very confident that Qianqi is better than 01 Johnson Percento, when the video identifies 01, there is also a highlight image of 01 at the beginning, but the final ankle injury is lifelong. The ultimate exposure of the U.Ba people has made Fei Dian or others a laughing stock. Will this video really only show someone's highlights? However, the first battle of Qianqi has already been completed, and there is no chance of any ankle sprains. I don't think we can come up with anything next, can we? Thinking of this, Lao Qian couldn't help but get excited. Ha ha ha, Fei Dian or Ren is just a pitiful clown, the Kamen Rider of the 01 world, it all depends on me. Lao Qian can now confirm that this screen is his lucky star. The first appraisal turned Fei Dian or Ren into a clown, giving him the opportunity to launch a plan in advance. The second appraisal not only made him famous in the heavens and realms, but also brought inspiration for the future. This mature man, who has always been indifferent to emotions, couldn't help but stand up excitedly and start dancing. This is how time and earth all work together. Seize Fei Dian, annex Yaya, climb to the top of the world. What a great plan, what a perfect me. The cheat even began to fantasize about how beautiful the future would be. At that time, he will use Shuma Jia and artificial intelligence to infiltrate every corner of the world, and then use the established Qimen Knight army to control the world. Feeling somewhat impatient, he immediately made a phone call to Dai. Accelerate the progress of the plan, the world will soon be in our pockets. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 8 Mr. E. Be loyal to me. The wind dominates. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Build world. Mr. E has now secretly sneaked back to the Faust base. In the dim light, at this moment he transformed into a blood-hiding form, sitting on the position of the leader of an honest person, crossing his legs and supporting his chin with his left hand. His gaze shifted away from the computer screen of the broadcast and landed on the struggling experimental subject below. Lord Stark, this experimental subject is not working. As soon as the researchers finished speaking, the struggling experimental subject suddenly transformed into a batter, but he remained calm at all. He took out his nebula smoke gun and only fired one shot. The attacker fell to the ground in response. Drag the body away, collect the final data, and then continue the experiment. After reviewing the identification of 01, Mr. E had a premonition. As a former demon scientist and now a genius physicist, Jean too is undoubtedly the smartest person in the world. E always has some expectations. After receiving information from other knights, Jean too will study what kind of things. I really have some expectations, Jean Tuesday. What surprises can you bring me besides? E really appreciates the performance of the cheat. Kamen Rider 1000 Cavalry, good strategy, good power. As a fourth party hidden in the dark, with just 2 pieces, I can easily play with the 3 sides between applause and let these pieces dance according to my own ideas. Suddenly, E had some ideas. The feeling of driving the pieces on the table to firmly grasp the entire game seems very interesting. Mr. E, who already had relevant plans, decided to go a little too far. He wants the 3 countries of Dongdu, Baidu, and Shidu to dance in his palm. Surprisingly, it gave me a lot of inspiration. Kamen Rider Qianqi, I'm really looking forward to the day we meet. Ciao, W World. An important ceremony is being held on the estate of the Yuansaki family. The eldest daughter of the Yuansaki family, Yazi, will get married today, and Sato Mihiko will also join the Yuansaki family today, so she will be renamed Yuansaki Mihiko. But it was such a grand ceremony, yet no one observed it. There are 3 main reasons for this. Sato Fuhiko entered the Yuansaki family as a son.in.law. Ordinary people are not qualified to visit the manor of the Yuansaki family to observe the ceremony. And this huge screen appearing out of thin air. The pressure between every move of the 1,000 cavalry made the lord of the Yuan Saki family and the Ryukyu soldiers couldn't help but admire. He handed the cat he was holding to the maid and gently applauded. Sparsi. This old man wearing a black suit, coffee-colored sunglasses, and slightly graying hair roots is not as old and powerless as his appearance. As the center of the Yuan Saki family, the person who controls the memory of fear. He is the hidden ruler of Fengdu, with the wild hope and strength to rule over all humanity. Not every cat and dog can get his approval. Even the sun.in.law of Sato Fuhiko is not a simple character. Not only did it stand out from the large number of memory sales in the Yuan Saki family, but it also mastered the power of NASCAR memory. Capable of hard bonding clay dolls mixed with dopants and delivering a full blow without any damage. Even the cats of the Yuan Saki family can transform into extremely powerful dopants through the saber-toothed tiger memory. Lu Bingwei finished clapping and immediately took the cat Mick from the maid's hand, gently stroking its soft fur. At the same time, he spoke calmly and said, "Our Yuan Saki family, if we want to conquer the world, we must have talents like the president of Tianjin who value both intelligence and strength. Father, do we have the opportunity to recruit talents from other worlds?" The eldest daughter, dressed in a white wedding dress, appeared particularly dazzling on this woman's most important day. But the scene of Lao Qian pretending to be successful is constantly replaying in his mind, stirring the strings of her heart. Lu Bingwei shook his head gently and smiled, "If we have complete control over the power of the well, perhaps we can enter other worlds. But characters like Tianjin High are not easily relegated to the lower ranks." What a pity. Yazi bit her lip. She quite appreciates the mature and masculine temperament of Lao Qian. Even Sato Fuhiko, who almost suffered from the Taoran, felt that Lao Qian was a character. Only the second daughter Ruotsai, dressed in a gorgeous floor-long dress with 2 buns tied, showed no interest in Lao Qian. A self-righteous old man. Upon hearing the evaluation of the second daughter, Ryubianwai chuckled and shook his head. He walked over and patted Sato Mahiko's shoulder, encouraging him with a smile, saying, "Mahiko, from now on, you will be a member of the Yuan Saki family. Your every move will represent the will of the Yuan Saki family." Sato Mahiko's face immediately showed a serious expression. This man in a suit only had the usual frivolity when facing Ryubi. Yes. Adapt to NASCAR memory as soon as possible, as long as you can fully control its power. Just it's impossible to be your opponent. I'm very optimistic about you. Yes, my father.in.law. After a brief interlude, the most important ceremony of the Yuan Saki family came to an end in a family photo. The 4 people and 1 cat who entered the mirror were all ferocious monsters. Levi's world. Within the base of the fugitives. Frio stood in the center of the base, wearing a blue non-mainstream suit and a big hat on his head, swaying up and down with his movements. At this moment, he excitedly pointed to the screen of the base and shouted, "Lord Akilera, look at it. This is the charm of the villain." The reason why Fleo joined the fugitives is simple. He wants to kill all those who cannot bear it. He had long wanted to give the feeling of rolling the protagonist on the ground. Yes, yes. Akira, dressed in a red dress, was a bit perfunctory. She instinctively glanced at Orutka, who was full of thoughts and ideas and couldn't like him at all. Especially the cheat is an old man with excessive self-awareness. This kind of guy should turn him into the lowest level fugitive. Akira, your ideas are also too wasteful. Urutka sat down on the sofa with a faint smile on his face, complemented by a green non-mainstream outfit, indicating that he was also a scheming boy. Perhaps due to same-sex repulsion, or being cautious, his impression of the cheat is very average. Lao Qian can even play with the operations of 3 parties, and may even do better. As for strength, how could a mere 1,000 riders possibly match the great Keith? This kind of character should at least be made good use of and drained of all his value. It's really bad, Urutka, Akiarella sarcastically said. Only Fliu looked at the two with a puzzled expression on his face. Don't you think he's very charming? Yurutka smiled silently. I choose Lord Kiev. Agilera mercilessly struck, and she stood up with some joy and ran to the side of the statue of Kiev. The red dress with tassels swaying gently contrasts with her bright red lips, making her even more salivating. When will Lord Kiev be resurrected? I can't wait to become his bride. If the plan goes smoothly, it will be very soon. Orutka chuckled lightly, and just as a group of villains expressed appreciation for the cheat. Little did they know. The real appraisal has just begun. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 9 Qianqi Zaoda. Metal Cluster Locusts. Out of Control Storm. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After the fake scene of the old man never looking back at the explosion ended, the camera also began to switch to the next battle. In the picture. Fei Dian or Ren, with a face full of pain. Open your mouth and close your eyes, fall to the ground, feeling cramped and isolated. Then, it seems that the operation of the cheat has not yet ended. Or rather, just about to start. I saw him sneer. Then, out of nowhere, a mysterious silver key was pulled out. As he slowly approached, he said, Human malice, you can use your own body to study hard. Speaking. This 1,000 riders picked up the young president with their right hand and pressed the key in their hand with their left hand. Fei Dian metal ability next, place it in the key sensing area of drive 01. Authorize successfully. Just sensing authorization, the drive displays an unknown red light. And this is the effect that Qianqi wants. He cuts open the key, inserts it into the 01 drive, and directly helps Fei Dian or humans transform. At the moment of key insertion, infinite dark red energy emerged from it, as if it were a source of pollution. The mournful cries of the young president also sounded at the same time. Program upgrade metal rise. After infecting the entire 01 drive, a massive amount of energy instantly erupted from the core and spewed out. Transform into a dark red halo and shoot around. Even forcing thousands of cavalry to retreat. In the red light of the sky, metal locusts flew out of the driver and danced wildly in the air, like the most terrifying locust plague. The sky covers the sun, enough to devour everything. At this point, the young president has been completely surrounded by dark red energy, shrouded in pitch-black smoke, ominous and terrifying. His consciousness was also transmitted to the satellite Acri, with endless malice spreading upwards from his feet. Like locusts, constantly gnawing on his mind. But the process of transformation is far from over. The young president wailed and covered himself with silver basic armor. The sky was filled with metal locusts gathering at this moment, transforming into a terrifying metal giant locust. The giant locust raised its head and let out a piercing hiss, but in the next moment it disintegrated with a loud roar. Accompanied by the noisy sound of flapping their wings, metal locusts flew towards the young president one by one, as if they were about to devour his flesh and blood. But it just keeps piling up on the solid armor. As the red light flowed through, the accumulated locusts seemed to deconstruct data, transforming into armor with a strong metallic texture. Secret material. Fei Dian metal. At the moment when the sound effect ends, the ominous black energy spreads around. Metal cluster hopper, it's high quality. A knight dressed in silver armor, with a metallic texture so strong that it explodes, with sharp edges all over his body, exuding a sense of industry and aggression, making a cool debut. Qimen Rider 01, Metal Swarm Locust Form, born. But everyone knows that this transformation special effect is full of unknowns and even torments the user's form. It is not a good thing. The world of build. After obtaining nightly information from other worlds, Zhan Tu had many new ideas and immediately entered his own laboratory. But having too many ideas is also a challenge, and choosing a difficult disorder can lead to a sudden death. However, after seeing the cool metal cluster locust form, he developed a certain tendency. Is this metal locust a nanomaterial? It can not only transform into a swarm, but also into armor. I don't know if there are locusts filling the bottles and cans. But we should not be limited to just filling bottles and cans. Perhaps we can develop a reinforced form for build through nanometallics. Jean Tu muttered to himself while scratching his head, with his dull hair standing high and erect on his head. Not far away, I was using dumbbells to exercise when I heard Jean Tu's words. He couldn't help but interject, "Why don't you get a blackened form?" Clam. Blackening is 10 times stronger, washing is 3 times weaker, haven't you heard of it? Jean Tu suddenly froze and quickly scratched his head, it seems feasible. Nano-metal blackening. Oh world. Enku sat on the stone railing by the seaside, with his back against the sea, his golden hair swaying slightly in the sea breeze. At this moment, he was eating his beloved popsicle while watching the ominous aura emanating from the metal swarms of locusts, and his brow furrowed slightly. This feeling reminded him of the king 800 years ago, and he couldn't help but mock, poor creature controlled by power. With his back against the railing and his hands fully open, Yingxi, who was particularly relaxed, gave the young president an apology. Too strict, Enku. Others are clearly victims. Being trampled by power is even more tragic. Holy Blade World. At this moment, Teacher Thomas collapsed on his own sofa, completely indifferent to whether his black suit would wrinkle. He gently rubbed his neck, as if he had fallen into a pillow last night. Actually, it's similar. Teacher Toma was watching a video outside just now and was so engrossed that he didn't notice that he had been keeping his head up all the time, to the point where his neck was particularly sore now. However, the appearance of metal swarms of locusts made him look refreshed. Is the satellite yak? Satellite yak, and human malice. It seems to have some similarities with the will of Bone Dragon, but the difference in numbers is too large. Does the satellite Akri contain the malice of all humanity? How did artificial intelligence learn about these things? 01 World. As the video continued to play, Lao Qian had completely relaxed. Once again, Fei Dian or humans have suffered from exhaustion in their own hands, and they are still invincible. As for the metal cluster locust key, it's just a plan for the scammer. If there is intense resistance from Fei Dian or others in the future, it is not impossible for oneself to create in advance. Put your own carefully crafted dog chain on Fei Dian or people. As for the ominous aura of the metal swarm locust transforming, he ignored it all. After all, it's a key made with yak. No one knows better than him what kind of ghost yak is. Now let me ask. How else can we lose? At this point, the Qianqi in the video also thinks the same way. He walked a few steps to 01, carrying 1,000 hijackers. Raising your hand is like a powerful attack on Mount Hua. But what he never expected was that he remained motionless, like a dead dog. 01 surprisingly blocked his attack. In just an instant, Qianqi had already understood the reason. Fei Dian or humans have lost consciousness, and the silver irregular shield in front of them is just the self-defense instinct of the metal locust swarm. Just some props like dead objects, how could they possibly block his attack? Lao Qian made another move, constantly changing his angle and strength, constantly probing the opponent's blind spots. But any attack from him will be blocked by the self-defense instinct of the metal locust swarm, like an indestructible Maginot Line. The continuous attacks of the old thief even had a counterproductive effect, completely stimulating the self-defense instinct of the locust swarm. They're going to fight back. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 10I, Swaruz, will never have a father. Tan Lidou. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 2 metal spikes shot out from 01, knocking back the cheat. 01, who was originally motionless, stepped forward in an instant, grabbed the cheat's neck with his right hand, and then lifted him up high. A large number of locusts detached from the 0-1 armor and transformed into metal spikes, continuously piercing towards the old man. Under the storm-like attack, the terrible sound of metal collision continued to sound, and the Chung also continued to emit sparks. But he's actually laughing wildly. At the next moment, his laughter came to a sudden halt. Two huge metal spikes fixed him from left to right, and an even larger spike continuously condensed in front of him. Then burst out. Beat the cheat straight away. Faced with the locust swarm's counterattack, Lao Qian immediately climbed up from the ground and forcefully pulled 1,000 hijackers. Jackrise, robbery upgrade, JACKNGBREAK. He quickly swung his sword and a large number of purple light cones flew out of 1,000 hijackers, shooting towards 0-1. But the self-defense instinct of the metal locust swarm is invincible. They block the light cone while suddenly elongating, transforming into countless ferocious spikes. In an instant, he came to Lao Qian and directly hit him to make contact and transform. The old man lying on the ground was covered in dust, dressed in a high-end suit and rags, with blood and wounds all over his face. What a miserable word! Compared to the man who was full of confidence before, holding a flying electric or human in one hand and forcefully stuffing the secret key into the other's belt in the other hand, it's like heaven and earth. At this moment, the audience watching the video were all dumbfounded, and many people who were drinking water even turned into fountains in place. Is this still the villain who was full of power before? The protagonist group of Justice expressed acceptance, while the villains who had expressed appreciation for the cheat only have one feeling now: where did he get his big paw, slapping and slapping on my face? This is called. That year, I made my own father, I don't know why I ate my own food. Time King World 2018. Swaruz and UR sat side by side on the small bench in the park. The two of them were dressed in the strange attire of a time robber, surrounded by people coming and going, and filled with residents wandering out due to the good weather. But no one cast a strange glance at them, as if they didn't exist at all. Taking advantage of the special abilities of the time robber, Swaruz and URL, who were hidden in the crowd, each held an ice cream, like an outing. Swaruz watched high-definition videos in the sky while spiraling through ice cream. The expression on his face was enchanting and evil. You only need a cherry-eating sound effect from Huajing Courtyard, and you can throw it into the ghost animal zone of Bilibili to earn an ice cream money. At this moment, Swaruz was filled with disdain for the cheat's father-making behavior. As a relatively small villain, he used to not appreciate cheaters much, but now when it comes to belittling them, he has no scruples. What a arrogant fool! Misestimating one's own strength and surrendering such a powerful force to an opponent. Oh, is this metal cluster locust also flawed? UR waved his hand beside him, as if to argue with the old man. This pretty little wrench can understand some of the old trick's ideas. They also didn't consider everything thoroughly, only thinking about the ability of metal swarms of locusts to seal other keys, without considering the locust swarm's self-defense ability. Swaruz still disdained, such a powerful force, without flaws, cannot be handed over to those Qimen riders. Yes, it is. UR said perfunctorily and then bit off the ice cream's head in one bite. Swaruz was still boasting, I Swaruz, there's no way I can have a foster father. Build world. Mr. E, who had been looking forward to meeting the cheat before, no longer wants to see this useless person at all. A few minutes ago, he was still praising Qianqi, and then the other party performed a scene of making a father eat his stomach, almost hitting him in the face from afar. Stupid. Beyond measure. General Yi's angry rebuke startled the researchers at Faust, some of whom couldn't understand why Lord Stock was so angry. Just a villain from another world. There is no B number, there is no ideal yet. How can they compare to their great Faust? Yi was angry for a while, but instead, it was the experience of Lao Qian that woke him up again. His carefully planned virtual hero plan is also creating a father, even more thoroughly than a cheat. Tongxing Zhan too was a great kid. He personally erased memories and underwent plastic surgery, and then threw and picked himself up. Making him a hero is also driven by General Yi himself. But he doesn't believe that War Rabbit can break free from his control and transform from a good old man into a father. The research abilities of former demonic scientist and current genius physicist are indeed very terrifying, but it is impossible to create items that can defeat him. As long as the plan goes smoothly, the energy bottle will be completely purified by Mekong, and he will retrieve his own EVOL drive. He can't possibly fail. Thinking of this, Mr. E smiled again. He looked at the cheat on the screen with his eyes open and closed, and smiled. I still want to thank you, Tianjin High. At least you have brought me joy before. Then General E stood up and, as instructed by the researchers, said, continue the experiment and get results as soon as possible. Yes. After speaking, Mr. E turned around and left. After the huge screen in the air appeared, he had another fun. However, Zhan Tu will always be his big brother. Let's take a look at Zhan Tu and see if he has come up with anything new. Mr. E whispered softly. Exad World. In the office of the president of Fantasy Company, he is skilled in making shrimp dumplings for his father. At this time, he is addicted to making cassette tapes. I am determined to complete my divine card as soon as possible. Even the video content broadcasted is scanned with spare light. As for Lao Qian's father making behavior, the evaluation of Xiaojiao is very simple. Tianjin High, Sampasento is still not enough. Your talents limit your imagination. Some unknown world. Within the major repair card base. This is a conference room shrouded in darkness, with hanging chandeliers from the ceiling illuminating only the long conference table. At the conference table, which was so blank that there was only one holographic projection device, there were black figures sitting with indistinct faces. They hid in the darkness around them, staring fixedly at the projected image of the old scammer eating his food. For a moment, the atmosphere was somewhat silent. They were originally discussing a new invasion plan, but were interrupted by a scream that appeared out of thin air. As an evil organization that inherits the will of Shuka and promotes it. Creating a father has always been their unwavering tradition. From the Kamen Riders during the Showa period to Wang Xiaoming during the Heisei period, each one was a major concern for them. In addition, many members just now expressed their appreciation for the previous pussy of the cheat. Even planning to recruit him to join the major repair card. This is by no means a challenge for overhaul cards that can shuttle through many worlds. But the scene of the old man making his own father and eating at the speed of light. But he fiercely slapped everyone present, a loud slap. Some people even got beaten twice. Finally, after a long silence, a dark figure spoke up. In the upcoming invasion plan, we will only create monsters and the most powerful monsters. Next, we will stop all plans related to Kamen Riders and never restart the overhaul card. From now on, we must carry out the rebellion against the father to the end. I've finished speaking. Who supports or opposes you? I support it. Agree. Amidst a chorus of echoes, the overhaul of the card has entered a brand new era. Brothers, please ask for flowers and evaluations. Even if the Chinese New Year is coming soon, I will go crazy. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.